is and should be a touchdown. Here we go. Bryson Barnes has got his back behind him. It is Jaquindon Jackson. Here's the snap. Bryson Barnes looking deep. He's got a man. It's caught! He's gone! Touchdown early! And good morning, everybody, and welcome to College Football Wraparound. I'm Cooper Naylor. So glad that you could join us. First time being live in a little over about a week and a half. So, hey, we're back to being live. We did give you the pre-recorded edition of College Football Wraparound last Saturday, but we're live. So, of course, we got a lot to dive into today. As you saw in the title of the video, BYU last night barely escaped at home against Oklahoma State. Granted, if you think about it, Oklahoma State is one of the best 3 and 4 teams in college football, in my opinion, at this point. So, I mean, we'll dive into that. Of course, we're going to chat about some of these games coming up today because, of course, as you saw in the thumbnail as well, big game, Georgia, Texas. That's going to be huge here tonight. Also, you got the third Saturday in October. Of course, that's Alabama, Tennessee. You got Nebraska and Illinois, which is a surprisingly good football game. So we're going to dive into some of this. Then, of course, at the end, we'll be going into the game picks for today. So, of course, we got a lot to talk about. Also, of course, if you went to my channel, I didn't ever put a community post out, which I'm going to, but we will be doing a live election results special Tuesday, November 5th, starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. So if you are someone who wants to keep up with what's going on, we got it here for you. Of course, like I put, if you follow my Facebook page, as you could see, I put in there, we're not giving any kind of political opinions. So you won't be seeing any of that. It's just cut and dry. Here are the results. So if you're interested in that, we will be doing that Tuesday, November 5th. So that's still a little bit like 2.5 weeks away, I believe. So we still got quite a while before that happens. But just giving you a little heads up what's going on here at the channel. As far as possibly doing Georgia, Texas tonight, we will see about that. So I will get back to you on that. But anyhow, let's dive into what you are here for, and that is college football. And you got to start by talking about Oklahoma State and BYU last night. This was a good game. Oklahoma State led 21-14 at halftime in a game that was, I mean, if you think about it, BYU, I think when it came down to it, BYU at the end of the day, they were the better team in the second half. First half, it was Oklahoma State. Now, final score was 38-35. BYU moves to 7-0. Oklahoma State moves to 3-4. Now, when it comes to the quarterbacks, Garrett Rangel started for Oklahoma State. I believe he got hurt somewhere in the game, so he wasn't able to go for the rest of the remainder of the ball game. He was 6-9 for 51 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in this ball game. He would be replaced by Alan Bowman, who went 11-19, 85 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Then you look at the run game, and Ollie Gordon, not a bad game. 16 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Garrett Rangel, second leading rusher, 5 carries, 77 yards. And then Rodney Fields Jr., 8 carries, 38 yards, and then the list goes on. And then you look at BYU, Jake Retzloff. I mean, it was a decent game for him. 13-26, 218 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But it was that run game that really got going. LJ Martin, 20 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jake Retzloff, 9 carries, 81 yards, 1 touchdown. Then you look at the passing game. Darius Lassiter, six receptions, 129 yards, 1 touchdown. Keelan Marion, 2 receptions, 56 yards, touchdown. So, this was not a defensive football game whatsoever. But I'll say this. And I mean, at the end of the day, this was a clean game. I mean, Oklahoma State only had 1 penalty and BYU only had 2. This was a clean game. Oklahoma State had the ball longer. But at the end of the day, Oklahoma State has not been able to close ball games out, which, I mean, granted, they went down, scored a touchdown with like a minute left in the ball game, and they're up 35-31. This is forcing BYU to have to go down and score. And BYU ends up going down, getting the touchdown, wins the ball game. Oklahoma State is just that team that their defense is not helping them out. Plus, if you think about it, they weren't able to close this game. And that's at the end of the day that's what's been hurting Oklahoma State. They can't play defense. You got to play defense a whole lot better than what you have. And I'll say this, if they can get their defense figured out, then I feel like Oklahoma State is a good, I mean, they could win a bunch of these games. They got to make more stops. And when it comes down to it, when you're up with a minute left in the ball game, you probably should win that game. And BYU had to go down and score a touchdown. Your defense should have been able to shut them down, but they weren't. BYU wins at 38-35. Got to give credit where credit's due. BYU, they came out with the win, and quite frankly, BYU is a team that I have not been very high on yet, and I still want to wait and see the rest of the season for BYU because, like I said, I'm not sold 100% on them yet because although they're 7-0, who have they played? Other than SMU, which gave them a test, I don't know really who have they actually played that's worth anything. So, of course, we will see about that. Of course, like I said, there's still a lot of season left. I mean, they're halfway through the season. So, like I said, lots of football left to be played. And so we will see. We'll see how these teams play out. All right, turning our attention, let's talk about Nebraska and Indiana. You look at this ball game, and this is one that I think a lot of people thought Nebraska would be an interesting football team this season. I don't think many thought Indiana would be a good football team. Now, granted, again, just like BYU, Indiana really hasn't played anybody. So this is going to be a great football game. One, because you go look at the history of Matt Rule, his team's second year have always done good. So Nebraska's a good football team this year. This is not a shocker. Indiana has got a guy named Kurt Sinetti who is known for winning, and that's what he's doing at Indiana. They're already bowl eligible with a 6-0 record, which I know, I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, even like bowl games don't really matter much, but I mean, hey, it is something to kind of talk about. But what is going to be the difference in this ball game? Well, first of all, you got Curtis Rourke as your quarterback if you're Indiana. You got Dylan Raiola, your quarterback for Nebraska. This is going to be an incredible quarterback duel. What's going to be the difference in this ball game is going to be which defense can make more stops. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like one of these defenses has got to make a play, and whoever can make that play on defense, whether it's forcing a fumble or forcing an interception, you got to make it because this is one of those games where turnovers are going to be key in this ball game. Because Curtis Rourke, Dylan Raiola, two really good quarterbacks, as I said. It's going to be huge to see how this quarterback duel goes. Of course, this game's coming up after our show is over, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun to go watch that game. And so, like I said, this is a quarterback duel. Some of the players on offense other than quarterbacks, so I want to see like both run games. How are they going to do in this ball game? And then the receivers going to be big. But like I said, key to this game is going to be defense. Which defense shows up first, and whichever defense shows up first, I think is going to win this ball game. And so that's the key to this ball game: defense. So let's turn our attention to another good football game, and let's talk about this Miami-Louisville football game. First of all, Louisville is interesting. I mean, you got Tyler Shuck as your quarterback. He's been all over the world. He started at Oregon, went to Texas Tech, now at Louisville. He is a decent quarterback. And it's a guy that Louisville, I think, likes. But to me, Louisville's not really that team that's incredible yet. And you're going up against Miami. Right now, in my opinion, as you saw, I mean, we got Miami at number 3 in our rankings. Miami is a team that is going to need to take care of business today. Now, Cam Ward is a guy that has played really good for Miami. Miami's defense, on the other hand, I feel like has been not break kind of defense. I mean, nearly lost to Virginia Tech, and their defense has not played incredible this season. If you're Miami, I mean, it's been okay. So this is a game where I feel like it's going to be Miami. Your defense has got to play good today, take care of business. And really, I mean, right now, I think most people would agree that the ACC right now, it is Miami and Clemson at the top. Now, again, like I said previous weeks, that I was not high on Clemson after the Georgia game for quite a while, but now I've kind of started coming around. Clemson is a decent football team. So, of course, going to be big to see how Miami plays today, but, you know, we'll see. Going to be very interesting for sure. All right, let's start talking about Alabama and Tennessee. Now, because this is going to be a very interesting ball game. Both teams have been struggling these past few weeks. You think about it, Alabama's offense, I feel like it's been fine. I'll say this, the play calling on the offensive side for Alabama has not been incredible. You got all these star running backs there in Tuscaloosa, and it feels like they are unwilling to give the ball to them. And I mean, Jam Miller's been the one getting the carries for the running backs, but most of the run plays have been quarterback designed runs. Now, granted, yes, you've got a mobile quarterback in Jalen Milroe that can do that. But at the end of the day, is that really going to help you? Like making Jalen Milroe have to run the whole game? And so I don't think it's terrible letting Jalen Milroe run. What is wrong with it is that you're letting just Jalen Milroe run the ball. You got Justice Haynes. You've got Jam Miller. And I mean, I think they've got a couple more that are really good. Give them the ball. It's not that difficult. Run the ball, Alabama, against this Tennessee defense. I feel like that would be a good way to go against Tennessee. Now, if you're Tennessee, your defense has been pretty good. Offense has been struggling a little bit these past few weeks. So, really, the big story here in this ball game is going to be that Alabama offense against that Tennessee defense. That's going to be big because that's the two best units for either of these teams going in this ball game. That's the best matchup, in my opinion. Now, the other two, you got that Bama defense against that Tennessee offense. That's going to be interesting because Alabama's defense has not played incredible either. These last 10 quarters of football for Alabama has not been great. If you look at that, if you look at the defense for Alabama, and you look at Tennessee's offense, it's not been great. So here's the question. What's going to give? Can Nico Imaliava, can he really provide a spark on that offense for Tennessee? We're going to see because they're going to have to make some plays. And Alabama on defense, they've got to make some plays. So this is going to be a chess match all game long. This is a 2:30 game, and last time that these two faced off up in Rocky Top, everybody remembers what happens. Tennessee won the ball game, and Tennessee took down the goalpost. So take that for what it is. It was a crazy game, and I will say this is going to be a fun football game to watch later this afternoon. So Alabama, Tennessee, going to be a fun one. We'll see which team plays better. And then finally, when you look at the games, we're going to talk about Georgia and Texas, the game of the week. Okay, first of all, Quinn Ewers, he came back last week. He was iffy with the way he played just because, in my opinion, he didn't look 100%, okay? He looked like he was still laboring from that oblique injury, and so it's going to be interesting, of course, to see how he does today. Most likely he plays a little bit better just because he's had a little bit more rest. But Texas offense is going to be interesting. I think Isaiah Bond was hurt. I think he's supposed to be coming back. That's going to be big for Texas. And then you look at Georgia, and here is the big thing here, okay? If you look at Georgia, their defense is not the same kind of Georgia defense we've come accustomed to. Georgia's defense, what we've come accustomed to, has been you don't allow much of anything. And basically, they are so dominant that you don't want to play that defense. Well, Georgia's defense has been making a lot of mistakes, allowing a lot of plays. They allowed 31 points to Mississippi State last week, the worst team in the SEC. And yes, Mississippi State is the worst team in the SEC, not Vanderbilt. That is a crazy thing to say because Vanderbilt's actually one of the best teams in the SEC this year, which is crazy to think about. But that's going off subject. Either way, Georgia is interesting because you look at it, their defense has been struggling, but then also let's talk about this. Carson Beck has been making a lot of mistakes, with interceptions and turnovers itself have been brutal for Carson Beck. So what you're going to see tonight, and I think that it's going to be interesting. Can Georgia get right tonight? That's going to be big because if Georgia can't get right, Texas is going to run them over. I'm just going to be honest with you. Plus, that line of scrimmage is going to be big because Texas has got a good offensive line. Now, Georgia's defensive line, we're going to see, can they get to Quinn Ewers? That's going to be big tonight. So, this is going to be a fun football game. This is one that I think is perfectly placed in the season because you're right in the middle of the season, and you got two teams that legitimately could win the national championship. And this is legitimately not only an SEC championship preview possibly, but this could be a national championship preview potentially. So it's going to be very interesting to see this ball game for sure, but we'll see. It's going to be a whole lot of fun tonight. So, real quick, let's go to a quick commercial break, and then it will be time to do our game picks. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Now, you may wonder why we come with this commercial, but it's for a good reason, and that is because Saber Broadcast Network now has an official app. Now, this app, it will give you the ability to basically find our social media pages, which is Rumble and YouTube, so you can easily access that. You got early access to the Saber Broadcast Network poll, and you get to see the game picks records after the games are done on Sunday, whenever we get to it. So, folks, if you want a more updated version, like if you want to see things early as far as the records and as far as the network poll, then you can go to the Saber Broadcast Network app. We'll have that link in the community post, and we'll have it in the description. So, hope you enjoy.
All right, welcome back. Yes, well, I just showed you we do have an app now, so that you can go there, like I said, and find updated information. So it is great. So if you want to check that out, there you go. You can go check that out. That's also we have a community post that you can scroll down and find. Also, in the about section in the YouTube page, there's some links. The app should be there as well. So got a couple ways you can find that. So it is time to give you the game picks for today. And man, this is going to be a good football Saturday, if I shall say so myself. And so the first game is one that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to, but this should be a really interesting football game. So North Texas and Memphis. This is a game, and keep in mind that games like this used to really didn't mean anything because it's two group of 5 teams. Now, because of the expanded playoff, you get a group of 5 team that's guaranteed to go to the playoffs. So this is going to be interesting. Memphis is a team that's looked really good so far this season. North Texas, same way. I got Memphis in this game. So does our viewers. This is going to be one that I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I think quarterback Seth Hennigan, who is the quarterback for Memphis. I think he's the difference in this ball game. Then you got Arizona State and Cincinnati. Now, some background on Arizona State. This is their first week being ranked, and I don't know, since I've been doing my YouTube and doing my rankings, I don't know if we've ever had Arizona State ranked. Somebody can, if you're a longtime viewer in the chat, you can tell me whether I have or not, because I don't remember if I have. Either way, Arizona State has looked really good this season. I think their only loss is to Texas Tech. And you look at it, they just beat Utah. Granted, Utah's quarterback Cam Rising has been he's been injured, and he didn't play incredible last week. But granted, Arizona State has looked really good this season. They're going on the road at Cincinnati today. I got Arizona State in this football game. I really like what I've been seeing from them. I think they're a really fun football team. So give me Arizona State. And the viewers have Arizona State as well. All right, LSU and Arkansas. LSU is very interesting here, which also I just remembered. We forgot to show our game picks records. And there you go. So there's the game picks records. I'm going to go ahead and put that in full screen for you. So LSU and Arkansas is who we're picking between. Arkansas, of course, has the big win over Tennessee. LSU, of course, got the overtime win against Ole Miss. Very interesting football game. Personally speaking, I got to go LSU. Viewers have LSU as well. So very interesting football game, like I said, and it's going to be a fun one a little bit later tonight. There we go. So our next football game to choose from, Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. This is interesting. Haynes King, the quarterback for Georgia Tech, will not be playing. So Zach Pyron's going to get the start for Georgia Tech. Now, here's the interesting thing. Zach Pyron, it's not like he hasn't been experienced, because he has had some experience. He's played, I think, in every football game this season for Georgia Tech because of some of the wrinkles and things Georgia Tech likes to do. They like to put him out there and do a lot of quarterback design runs. So this is going to be an interesting football game, but I got to give Notre Dame the edge here. Notre Dame, I mean, every season they have that chance to be really good, and I just think they're a better team than Georgia Tech today. South Carolina and Oklahoma. You look at two teams that, I mean, Oklahoma has struggled this season, and I feel like they're still trying to find that X factor on the offense because, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's on the quarterbacks per se. I just feel like it's just the play calling's not great for Oklahoma this season, so very interesting. But you got Oklahoma, South Carolina, going to be a very fun football game here. But yeah, I'm going to go. I got to go Oklahoma. Viewers are split on this game, but yeah, Oklahoma. I've got them because I think they'll come back and play a good football game. And South Carolina has played good football, nearly beating Alabama, nearly beating South Carolina, nearly beating LSU rather. So very interesting stuff. And then we have Miami and Louisville. I got to say this. I got Miami. I think Miami will take care of business today. Don't be shocked though if this is going to be this will be a close game because let's be honest. Louisville, I think, has that ability to play close with these good football teams in the ACC. So don't be shocked if this is a close football game near the end. You got Michigan and Illinois. Right now, viewers are split, but I've got Illinois. I think Illinois will take care of business. Plus, Michigan, to me, they just have a lot of issues that they got to figure out. And namely, they got to figure out their quarterback situation. I feel like if they can't figure that out, then you're not going very far. This year is, I don't know if I've really seen a drop off from a national champion since LSU a few years ago, and that's really saying a lot. So yeah, Illinois, I got them. And then Nebraska and Indiana coming up here in a few minutes. I've got Nebraska, viewers, 100% Nebraska. Not to say Indiana's not a good football team. Personally speaking, Nebraska, I like what they've been doing this season. I think they come back, they win this football game, and quite frankly, it's going to be a fun one to watch. And then you got Alabama, Tennessee later this afternoon. I got Alabama, and the viewers have Alabama as well. I'll say this. Again, Alabama, they got to quit committing the turnovers, and they got to, well, I mean, they have turned the ball over a little bit. Defense got to play better, rather. I'm sorry. Defense got to play a whole lot better. Because if they don't, then this is not going to be a fun game if you're Alabama. Tennessee's offense has got to play a lot better too. So Alabama's defense against Tennessee's offense going to be a big chess match that I think a lot of people are going to want to see. And finally, you got Georgia and Texas in prime time. Viewers are split between Georgia and Texas. Personally speaking, I got to go Texas. I do not know if I have enough trust in that Georgia defense tonight to really tell me Georgia's going to win this football game. Until Georgia can prove to me that their defense can play a full game and play the way that they have these past few years, give me Texas. Well, folks, that is pretty much all the show we have for today. College football is about to get started. And what a day of football we've got. We got 3 just gigantic football games, and you got a bunch of other really good football games here on this mid-October Saturday. So, folks, enjoy your football Saturday. We'll see you later. Good night, everybody.